start trying to.
Another thing to mention about the taxes is that we do have the drop down arrow next to where it says property taxes, and that's where you'll be able to go in there and pull a few of the rates that have been preloaded in there for you guys just for estimating purposes. We do have those different area rates, so if you're just wanting to pull one of those rough rates, you can do that as well. All right, so something that we've loaded in here that I think is just amazing is this loan balance feature. So this, of course, would be where we would plug in how much they still currently owe on their mortgage. However, we've got a loan balance calculator in our calculators tab that we've also tied to this input field. Because we know that a lot of times when you're working up that net sheet for your seller, you ask them how much they still owe on their current mortgage, and they don't know. They might know roughly when they started their mortgage, but they don't know exactly how much they still owe. Well, like I said, we do have that loan balance calculator where we can calculate how much a seller still owes on their mortgage with just a little bit of information. So if we're working up our net sheet here, we ask that seller how much they still owe. They don't know. I can say, hey, not a problem. As long as you've been regular on your payments, I can calculate roughly how much you still owe. I would then press this settings gear that's on that loan balance input field. And when I press that, it's going to pull up that loan balance calculator for me. So then I would plug in just a little bit of information, how much they bought the house for. So let's say $275,000. They put 20% down. That's also something that we'll want to include. Now, jumping down to the loan start date, this is something that you can typically back them into, at least for getting a rough estimate. You know, maybe it was back in 2006 when their son graduated from college. So it was when he graduated from college. So maybe May or June of 2006 was when they bought their house. A month and a year is going to get us close enough. Now, another really cool thing that we've loaded in here is if they don't know what interest rate they've got on that payoff, we have actually loaded in historical interest rate data. We have a settings gear on the interest rate input field. If we press that, it's going to pull up a graph where we can scroll back to 2006, look at a high rate, a low rate, and an average rate for those years. I'm going to use the average rate and press the use button up there in the top right corner, and that's going to load that into my loan balance calculator. So now I have that interest rate loaded in right here into my loan balance calculator. Lastly, I would need to press that compute button and then really look like an expert, being able to say to that homeowner, hey, you know, assuming all this information is at least close, you still owe $165,000. And we were still working up our net sheet, you guys. So I want to plug this information into my net sheet. I just press that green use button. It's going to plug the loan balance and the interest rate right here into my net sheet. And then I would just need to choose an estimated closing date. Now we've got that defaulted to 2 months out for you guys, but you can adjust that. I'm going to keep it where it is. I would press compute, but I also want to mention really quickly that we do have that reissue rate functionality built in for you guys. So if they do qualify for that reissue rate, you can click on that. And then it'll ask for that original purchase price. And so it'll base that off of that original price. I'm going to leave that off, but I wanted to let you guys know that functionality is there. I'm going to go ahead and hit compute, and just like that, I mean, I really look like an expert being able to break it down for that seller and say, hey, assuming the $320,000 sales price, the loan balance that we calculated, the prorated taxes owed based on the time of year that we're closing, and then of course all of those closing costs, you're looking to walk with about $125,000. So I can really look like a professional and build some trust with those clients by being able to estimate so quickly and so accurately. We've worked hard with the team there at Supreme to load in the fees that you guys typically need. So when you're giving them an estimate, you're getting really, really close. So really amazing stuff here. If we want to itemize out the closing costs that are being included, we can press this detailed closing cost button, where then you'll be able to see those closing costs, and you can always press the edit button up there in the top right corner and dial these numbers in if you'd like. If you need to add some costs there or toggle certain policies to be paid by the other party, different things like that can be done when you press that edit button in the top right corner. Now, if you do make any changes, so let's just add a fee down here at the bottom. So I'm just gonna add a other fee, a miscellaneous fee here, and I'm going to put, maybe it's just $50. I just want to show you guys something that happens when you load in a fee or make any changes to your closing costs. When I hit done up there in the top right corner, it's going to give me two options for saving. So I can save for this estimate only, or I can save for all future estimates. So definitely want to let you know that these fees have been preloaded in here on the buyer side and the seller side here. So that when you're estimating, you're getting really close, but every transaction is different. And if you need to dial the numbers in, you do have the ability to do so there. So wanted to show you that. I'm going to hit for this estimate only, and I'll press the back button up there in the top left corner, take us back to our results screen and talk about some of the other stuff that's available here to you. Now, the first thing that I like to show in regards to functionality that's available on your results screen is the editability of the results. This just is something that we've built in that helps you be more fluid in the conversations that you're having with your buyers and sellers. So here on the seller side, I've told my seller what they're going to be walking with, but maybe my seller looks at this number and says, you know what, 125 looks good, but I really need 140 for this new house that I found. I want to walk with 140. Well, you're able to work on your feet and run the numbers in reverse right here from your results screen. There's actually an edit button right there below that number where we can press edit, change this to 140 and say, hey, not a problem, Mr. Seller. If you're needing to walk with 140,000, we're actually going to have to sell the house for like 335. So again, giving you guys the flexibility to be able to run the numbers in reverse right here from your results screen and look like an expert when talking with your clients about the numbers. So really amazing stuff there. Now, another thing that I want to show you, we've got hidden features loaded into all of our results screens. What you can do is you can hold your device in front of you and rotate it to the left or the right, like you're trying to watch a movie on it. And when you do that, it's going to unlock an added results screen for you. So I'm going to hold my device in front of me, rotate it to the left or the right, and then rotate it back. What it's going to do is it's going to run 5 net sheets at once for me. So this is just an added screen that helps you really have that back and forth with your seller. You can have that conversation where you say, hey, you know, if we do get it sold for 320, that would have you walking with 125. But you know, if we're only able to get 310, would you still be okay with 114? Or if we're able to get a bidding war going and could get more like 330, you might be able to walk with 135 on this house. So being able to have these 5 different net sheets or 5 different sales prices and corresponding net at close numbers, it just helps you really look like an expert and be professional when having that conversation with your sellers. Have the information laid out for them. All right, so I wanted to show you that. The next thing I want to draw your attention to is the blue bar at the top of the screen. This is going to show you additional result screens that you can swipe over to. So if I look on the right side, there's a holding cost calculator, and that's the first one I want to show you. This is just a tremendous way for you guys to address working with that unrealistic seller. You know, if an unrealistic seller wants to list a house too high and that house sits on the market, they're going to incur carrying costs while that house sits on the market. You know, each month that they make their payment, they're of course getting credit for their principal payment. You know, that's cutting away at their loan, but they're also paying taxes, insurance, interest, HOA, utilities, lawn care, pool maintenance, all these different things that aren't cutting away at their loan. It ultimately could mean that they net less money than if they just listed the house for less and it moved quicker. And that's something that's kind of hard to illustrate to that unrealistic seller. So we created this holding cost calculator to help you guys do that, to help illustrate what that house sitting on that market is actually costing that seller. So if I swipe over, I can either swipe on this screen over to that holding cost calculator, or I can click on that holding cost button up there, but it's going to take me to my holding cost calculator where it's actually going to tally up taxes, insurance, and interest over 3, 6, 9, and 12 months. So this is just an amazing piece of information for you to lay out in front of that seller and have that conversation with them. You know, be able to say, hey, I know you want to list this house for 320,000, but houses in this neighborhood, they're not selling for that much. In fact, the last house that was listed that high above all the other houses, it actually sat on the market for a year. If your house sits on the market for a year, you're going to be out 12 grand in interest, insurance, and taxes alone. We haven't even gone into this edit expenses button down here in the bottom left corner and added things like HOA. Maybe they're spending $150 a month in HOA fees and $1,000 a month in utilities. All these different things that they're paying while that house sits on the market. Well, I can add those, hit compute, and it's going to run that calculation again for me. And it's going to add those miscellaneous fees. So now I can say, hey, realistically, if that house sits on the market for a year, in interest, HOA, insurance, taxes, utilities, you're going to spend about $25,000. It might be better for us to list it at 310 or 305, more along the lines of the comps in the area, and have it move a little bit quicker so that that 25 grand isn't coming out of your pocket, Mr. Seller. So again, this is a tremendous way for you guys to address working with that unrealistic seller by showing them how much that house sitting on the market is actually costing them. So really powerful stuff there. Again, that holding cost calculator, it's on the right side of the NetSheet results screen. Now on the left side of the NetSheet results screen, we've got a multiple offer comparison tool built in for you guys. So if I swipe over to that, you can actually use this to compare up to 12 different offers. And we've got all those data points listed out that help you differentiate those offers. Even something as trivial as a contingency. Maybe this offer is contingent on the sale of their home. This offer only stands if these buyers can sell their house first. We can actually include that contingency in our multiple offer comparison. We've got home warranty, earnest money, different things like that. We can even edit the closing costs for our different offers. And one of the really cool features here that I like to point out is the star functionality up here in the top left corner. If you're building out several different offers to show that seller, if you're able to actually star the offer that you guys were talking about was probably going to be best for them, hey, that $320,000 conventional offer that was submitted, that's probably going to be the best one for you. I know we were talking about it. That was the one you seemed like you liked the most because it had a closing date that was sooner. Being able to have that noted on the report is something that really helps you just look like an expert and really professional when you're going over that multiple offer comparison with that seller who's fortunate enough to find themselves in a multiple offer situation. Any additional offers would be added with this add offer button in the bottom. And I'll just add a couple offers just real quick. I'll just do 310 and I'll leave everything else the same, and one final offer that I'll add in, and I'll say, hey, this one's an FHA where they're offering, maybe 330. Just to make a few different offers and show you guys what that offer comparison looks like when you're all done with it. That share icon in the top right corner, you're going to be able to send over a great looking report. It'll have those notes and those contingencies included. It's even going to have a star on the offer that I was wanting to recommend to that seller. Just some amazing stuff here. Being able to create a multiple offer comparison so quickly and have one that's so clean, has my branding on there. It's just something that you're going to really love, and your clients are really going to love when they're in that multiple offer situation and you're trying to illustrate those different offers to them. So really powerful stuff here. Now, I do want to swipe back over to the NetSheet and talk about sending this off. We've got a few different ways to do so. The first way is the quick and easy way. Maybe you're not wanting to overwhelm that client with the full closing cost breakdown just yet. You're essentially just wanting to show them what they would need to sell that house for to reach that $140,000 net at close number goal that they have. Well, what we can do is we can press and hold on the results screen, and it's going to take what we call a snapshot. It'll throw the home price up there at the top. Numbers are estimates only, verbiage down here at the bottom of the screen. But now you can text or email or post to social media just the pertinent information. You just shoot that over to that client and let them see just that snapshot. If you are, however, wanting to send that full report, that option would be done with the share icon up here in the top right corner. Whenever you're wanting to send something off, you just always look for that box with the arrow coming out of it, and that's where you'll get the options for sharing. Now, send full report is what I want to go into, but before I do, I want to mention the save estimate functionality with you guys. So we actually provide you with free cloud storage, and earlier I mentioned how you can get the app on different devices. Well, you're actually able to have your account on up to 5 different devices. And so if I'm maybe working up this net sheet on my phone, but I want to show it to the client on the iPad, or I want to continue working on it in a larger screen like my laptop or desktop computer, I can always save it within the app, utilize that free cloud storage, and then open it up on a different device. So really powerful stuff there that I wanted to mention to you guys. Again, being able to use that free cloud storage and having this available to you on up to 5 different devices is something that makes that possible. All right, I'm going to press send full report though. I want to get to that great looking report for my client. And so I'll press that and it's going to create a great looking report for me. We've got a nice report with the address automatically put on there since I used that home link feature earlier. You'll notice that it does have my branding on there. So I've got my logo, photo, personal information, company information, all of that's going to be branded onto my report automatically. Now, I do want to mention that for you to add your photo and your logo to your account, you're going to have to be a premium subscriber. So that's something that compliance made us do just to eliminate any risk of co-advertising. But I promise you, once I show you all the value that you're getting for that 99 cents a month, you're really going to just think that the adding the photo and logo to your account is icing on the cake. That's just an added benefit. That marketing content that you get in that premium section is well worth 99 cents a month. Just to let you know a few of the things that are available with our printouts. So first, in the bottom left corner, there's a templates option. So we've got several different styles of net sheets that you can choose between, 6 different styles available to you here. So pressing that templates option will then give you those different options there. In the bottom right corner, there's a customize button, and there's a few cool features here that I really love. Being able to edit your profile if you wanted to change your photo or logo, or adding property details like the address or any notes, different things like that, of course, can be added in the property details section. But I also want to point out this language option. We actually have the ability to translate this entire document to 14 different languages. So if you're working with a buyer who speaks a different language, this is a really powerful way, or a seller who speaks a different language, this is a really powerful way to connect with that seller. So really, really amazing stuff there. All right, so that's the seller side. I'm going to go ahead and jump on over to the buyer side. I do know that you guys mostly work with sellers, but for those times that you're working with buyers, there's really some amazing stuff available in here. Real quick, I saw that Tina had a question. So one thing I do want to say is that in regards to other rates for other title operations, you can go in there and edit your closing costs to an extent, but this is a tool that's being provided to you guys by Supreme Title, and so their fees are what's loaded in there by default for you. So definitely wanted to mention that. All right, so I'm going to jump on over to the buyer side and talk about making these estimates for our buyers. So really amazing stuff available to you here. And it all starts with just plugging in a home price up here at the top. So I'll stick with that same price point of $320,000. Now, in regards to down payment, one thing that I want to mention with you guys is that our input fields are intuitive. So for example, with this down payment, if your buyer wanted to put a dollar amount down, maybe they've got $100,000 they'd like to put down. You type in $100,000 and it's going to automatically recognize that as a dollar amount. So the app, for your fees, for your taxes, for your down payment, whenever you plug in a number that's higher than 100, it's going to automatically be recognized as a dollar amount. And anything below is going to be a percentage. So just a nice little convenience feature for you guys. And that, again, works for taxes and all those fees as well. I'm going to keep that at 10%, however. We, of course, could change loan type. Again, we work really close with the Supreme team there to load in the fees associated with these different loan types. So if you're trying to run an FHA, a VA, an all-cash deal, make sure you're switching your loan type. That is definitely something you'll want to do to include those correct fees. And then there's different intricacies that are built into each of those different loan types. So, for example, if I chose an FHA, it's going to default that down payment to 3.5%. All those different intricacies have been built in for you guys automatically. Now, interest rate, term length, hazard insurance, and taxes, we could all, of course, we could change all of those. I know I mentioned how to handle taxes earlier, especially with that home link feature up there at the top of the screen by adding in an address. But in fact, I'll go ahead and load in an address again just to use that really quick. And so we'll use the accurate taxes for this estimate. And then later on in the reports, I do want to show you something that includes that address. So I want to add that address right now. Of course, we could change that closing date. I'm going to keep everything else the same and hit that compute button. Just like that, I'm able to tell that buyer, hey, you know, you're going to want to get with the lender and get all the final numbers, but you know, it's going to be about $2,188 a month, and you're going to have to bring about 45 grand to close on this $320,000 house with 10% down. Now, one thing that I want to stress with you guys is that this buyer estimate tool is not meant to replace the lender. You know, buyers still need to be pre-approved. All the final numbers go through the lender. This is more meant as a tool that makes you more valuable with those clients that you're working with. You know, if a buyer's been pre-approved for X amount, let's say 400,000, not every house that they look at is going to be 400,000. They might look at houses ranging from 320 up to 390, and they're going to be curious about the difference in monthly payment and bring to close on those different price points. That's where having an estimating tool like this, it just lets you set yourself apart. You're able to really look like an expert and provide value to those buyers by giving them an estimate. Being able to say, hey, this $320,000 house, it's going to be about $2,188 a month. I know you want to go look at that 390 house as well. That one's going to cost X amount a month. There's so much value in you being able to estimate for your buyers. Again, they'll have to get with the lender for those final numbers, but this is a rough estimate, really close estimate, thanks to all the fees that Supreme Title has loaded in here for you. Now, in regards to the functionality available here on your results screen, we can of course go in there and edit those detailed closing costs. I do want to mention that for lender fees, we can load in lender fees if you're working with a specific lender. So you can dial these numbers in with that edit button, just like I did on the seller side. That functionality is available to you here on the buyer side as well. And then, of course, the editability of the results just makes you look like a rock star when you're out there meeting with that buyer. You know, maybe the buyer says, hey, $2,188 is a little high on that monthly payment. We're actually trying to keep our monthly payment around $1,900. Well, you can really look like a rock star by being able to press that edit button, change that monthly payment to $1,900, and say to that buyer, hey, not a problem. If you're trying to keep that monthly payment around $1,900, you're actually going to have to bring about 83 grand to close on this home. That's going to get you above that 20% threshold, which is going to knock off that PMI. You know, really look like an expert when estimating for your clients. It's going to build so much value and respect, and they're really going to look at you as the expert in working with when doing their real estate transactions. So really amazing stuff there. In regards to that hidden feature I showed you on the buyer side or on the seller side, here on the buyer side, it's going to help you work with that lowball buyer. You know, maybe that buyer's trying to get you to submit that 320 offer, but the house is listed at 360. Well, now you're trying to have this conversation with that buyer and tell them to make a more competitive offer, but you got to do it respectfully. Well, what you can do is you can take your device, hold it in front of you, rotate it to the left or the right like you're trying to watch a movie on it, and now we've got a result screen where we can say, hey, you know, 360 is what it's listed at, 320 is just not going to cut it. If we really want to make a competitive offer on this and you guys are seriously interested, I can tell that you are, maybe we meet that seller halfway at 340. You know, that's not going to change your monthly payment that much. We're actually going to show what the monthly payment would be over here on the right side. And I actually prefer to use the settings gear down here in the bottom left corner and to show the difference in payment. We could also adjust the increments, but I'm going to keep those at 10,000. But now I get to have that conversation with that buyer where I say, hey, you guys, if we can make a more competitive offer at 340, get a little bit closer to that asking price of theirs, that's only going to change your monthly payment by $109. Are you sure you want to let your dream home go over $109? This could be the difference that makes your offer actually accepted by these sellers. So this tool isn't just about being able to run the estimates. We've got so many different features in here that help you address working through those obstacles that you find yourself in. Whether it's working with that unrealistic seller and using that holding cost calculator that I showed you before, or using this feature to work with that lowball buyer. There's so many different features available in this tool that take that conversation about the numbers to the next level put the odds more in your favor in closing that deal. So really awesome stuff I wanted to mention with you real quick in regards to that hidden feature there. So glad that you like that, Colleen. All right, the blue bar at the top of the screen, again, that's going to have additional result screens that you can swipe over to. On the left side, we've got a Smart Compare tool. It's a loan comparison tool. You're not going to use it every single time, but it's gonna create comparable loans for you to show your buyer. You can actually compare 3 loans, 2 different loans against your original scenario. You'd want to press that edit button in the top left corner to edit what those loans are. We'll try to create some compared loans for you to use. But you can always go in there and press that edit button and change those as well. So that is that Smart Compare tool that is available to you on the left side of the buyer estimate result screens. On the right side is a loan details page. When you look at that loan details page, you'll see all the loan details at the top of the screen, but by scrolling down, you'll see that we also run a complete amortization schedule for every scenario that you put through that buyer's program. So maybe you're working with that buyer and they want to see a payoff at a certain point. You know, we could go through the years, maybe look at year 20. At year 20, we could show them the principal, interest, and what the loan balance would be for every month within year 20 here. So when you need that amortization schedule, know that we run it for you automatically. You just have to swipe over to the loan details to access that. Okay, now talking about sending that off, I know I showed you that snapshot feature, so I can press and hold on the screen and take that snapshot real quick. But I want to send a full report because I want to show you some of the cool stuff that we've built in here. So I'm going to press that share icon in the top right corner, and it's going to create, when I choose send full report, it's going to create that great looking report for me. You know, same functionality that I showed you on the buyer side. So it is going to have that branding on my report automatically. I actually left off on one of the geo reports, so it's going to open up to one of those geo reports automatically. I'll get to those geo reports in just a second, but first I want to talk about these normal estimates, just because I want to talk up how you can use these in your business. Great looking report. It's got all the loan information on the first page. Second page, you'll see all of those closing costs itemized out. There's a disclaimer that's going to go out on your net sheets and estimates automatically. You can change your disclaimer in your profile settings. I can show you that a little bit later if you'd like. But it says that at the end of the day, this is just an estimate. It's not an actual CD. It's just an estimate. So we do have that estimate verbiage built in via that disclaimer. Now, in regards to different things that you can do here on the buyer estimate report. So I'm going to go into that customize option in the bottom right corner, and I want to go into property details because I want to add some property details, especially on the buyer side. Adding these property details just makes this estimate, it takes it to the next level. So first I'm going to put a client name. I'll put Joe Buyer. You know, I want to make sure that their name is on this estimate when I send it over, just the professional thing to do. I can add notes, maybe what school district, anything like that. We've already added an address for the home link feature, so we've already got that. But I really want to talk up these adding property photos. This is something that you really need to do with the estimates that you're sending over to your clients. You know, if there's features that speak to those clients specifically, you want to include those on your estimate that you're sending them. If I'm walking the house with a husband and wife and the wife keeps raving about how much she loves the counters and the cabinets in the kitchen, I want to make sure to include a photo of the kitchen on the estimate that I send her. If I do, there's just going to be a higher chance that they buy the house. I'm showcasing features that work for them specifically. So using photos that speak to them specifically is something that you can do to really take your estimates to the next level and really have them connect with those buyers. When you click on one of these photo icons, you're given 2 options. You can take a picture right then and there with the camera because this is an app. In fact, we've seen agents use this by having their clients stand in front of that house and taking a photo of them there. That's a really unique way that we've seen this used. But of course, we can pull from our photo library if you've got those photos loaded into our device. I'm going to go ahead and just load in a few photos real quick just to show you how amazing these reports look when you do so. I'm going to load in a front-facing photo for that first photo. I'll load in a photo of the kitchen. Like I said, the wife, she was raving about those granite countertops, so I want to include a photo of the kitchen. And I'm going to also load in a photo of the backyard. You know, they mentioned having dogs when I was meeting with them, and so I want to let them know that, hey, there's a beautiful backyard back there. The dogs will love it. So I've added 3 photos. Another really big feature right now is the video link section. With everybody's social distancing and all that, being able to add your 3D tours, your virtual walkthroughs right here to your estimate is just something that's going to take your business to the next level. Being able to send over your estimate to a client and include a link that they can click to check out their virtual tour, it's just something that's just really going to make you look like an expert when you're working with that buyer. So I'm going to hit save in the top right corner, and it loads all that information onto my estimate here. Of course, the address was up there in the top right corner already, but scrolling down to that second page, you'll see those photos have been loaded in, prepared for Joe Buyer. So again, I just really look professional, being able to send this report over to my client and go over the full costs involved in this purchase. So really amazing stuff there. And again, there's several different template options. So you can go to the templates option down there in the bottom left corner. The first 6 are going to be included for you guys for free. The first 5, I apologize, are included for you guys for free. Now, when we get to style 6 and on, those are what are called geo reports. And the geo reports do require a subscription to premium, but it's a really valuable piece of content for you guys to use to market your listing. Let me show you why. I'm going to click on one of these geo reports and show you what all the fuss is about these amazing geo reports. What it does is it builds a custom report based on that address that I put in the property details section. It's pulling geo-specific data. So we've got convenience information from Google, how close that hospital or grocery store is, schools nearby and their ratings, restaurants within a 5-mile radius, and of course, internet speeds and walk score and sound score. So being able to say to that client, hey, I know you love cooking, that grocery store is not too far away. Those schools that you'll be enrolling your children in, they're amazing. They've got great ratings. Internet speed is so important, especially if this shows fiber internet available at that address. This is something that's really amazing for the times. People are working from home. Kids are going to school from home. Being able to show that, hey, this listing has fiber internet. It's got all the internet speed you need to stream everything that you guys need. So really powerful stuff with these geo reports. If you're working with that buyer who's already fallen in love with the pictures, this is a way to really drive the message home on how much this listing will work with their lifestyle. And in fact, you can really tailor it to that specific client by going to the customize option. If you go to the customize option and go into the property details while you're on a geo report, it's going to give you the ability to edit the information. Maybe you wanted to change to a different school, show different schools. We've actually built into the APIs where it's going to pull the assigned schools by default. It's actually using 2 APIs to make that happen. But maybe you want to show a different school. You can always change the schools. We could change the nearby convenience options. So maybe Starbucks and supermarket, I don't really want to show them that. That doesn't matter as much. Instead, they've got dogs, so I want to include dog parks. And the husband loves golf, and so I'm going to include golf courses as well. So really powerful stuff there with being able to tailor this geo report to that client that I'm working with specifically. And of course, there are several different styles of those geo reports that you can choose from. And one thing to tease you that we have coming in an upcoming update is that we're trying to take these geo reports to the next level for you. We've got styles that are geared more towards audiences that you'll be presenting them to. That's what we're trying to do. We're trying to really hone in who you'll be presenting these to. So we've got a style that's geared more towards millennials. We've got a style that's geared more towards families. We've got some really powerful stuff coming with the update in regards to these geo reports. So that's something that you guys have to look forward to. All right, so that is the buyer side. I know we're covering so much, but hopefully you guys are just getting a taste of all the value that the Supreme team is bringing to you with this amazing tool. They really care about this, about you guys and your business, and so they see a lot of value in this and are trying to bring this to you to help your business. And I hope you guys see that.
How is everyone feeling so far? Can you get in the chat and just let me know? Is he going at a great pace? Is everyone feeling comfortable so far? Joanne, if there's going to be another presentation, most likely yes. After all of you guys get out there and post on Facebook about how awesome this app is and build the hype, hopefully we'll have enough people interested to have another training session. And absolutely, we can do one-on-ones if we need to. We are going to have this session and previous sessions that we've had with Mike recorded. So we'll have that on our YouTube channel, and you can access that whenever you'd like. And then one-on-ones will happen. Tracy and I have a presentation that we can go through with you, and we're always here for support. So Michael, keep it going, keep the train moving.
All right. Yes, ma'am. All right, so you guys have seen the buyer and seller tab. Now let's talk about these calculators. A ton, like I said, a ton of additional calculators that we've loaded in here for you. We want to help you not just with working with buyers and sellers, but there's some great ways for you to follow up with previous buyers that you've worked with in the past, or to convert renters over to buying. Just a ton of amazing stuff in here. Some of them I've covered with you already. So for example, the loan balance calculator, I covered that with you. The Smart Compare and Multiple Offers, those two comparison tools, we talked about those as well. So jumping up to Sell-to-Net and monthly affordability, these are two that I really want to give you an idea about, because they're just amazing ways for you to work the numbers backwards with those clients. It just offers a unique way for you to work with those clients. For example, the Sell-to-Net program is the reverse calculation of a net sheet. Being able to start with the goal that a seller has and run the numbers backwards is just something that makes it so easy to talk with your sellers. So for example, if your seller is telling you that they would sell their house if they could break even, or they'll sell their house if they could walk with $80,000. If they've got a goal set in their mind, this Sell-to-Net program is going to help you knock it out of the park, because you can use that number and then run the numbers backwards and tell them what you would need to sell their house for them to reach that net goal that they have. If you click on that Sell-to-Net program, it's going to function just as the net sheet would, except for the first input field, rather than being the sales price, you're just going to plug in a net goal. So if they're trying to break even, I'm just going to plug a 0 in there. Or if they want to walk with X amount, you know, maybe they sell their house if they could walk with 120,000. Well, now I can be the expert and say, hey, I hear you're looking to sell your house. You want to make 120,000? Well, we'd have to sell your house for X amount for you to walk with 120,000. So it just gives you a unique way to approach a potential seller. It really just makes you look like an expert out there. And then of course we'd fill it out just as we did the net sheet, press compute, and be able to tell that seller, hey, we'd have to sell the house for 370 for you to walk with 120. You want me to get that process started? So really amazing stuff there. Now, when working with buyers, a lot of buyers, they don't know what priced home they're looking for just yet, but they do know how much they've budgeted to spend monthly. That's just something that's become more and more common, that budget conscious buyers, they know how much they've budgeted to spend monthly. Maybe they've been pre-approved for $500,000, but they don't want to buy a $500,000 house. They just want to spend $1,800 a month. What kind of house could they get for that much? Well, the monthly affordability program gives you the ability to do that. You can take a monthly payment number, a principal, interest, taxes, and insurance payment, so an all-inclusive payment, because when a buyer says that they want to spend $2,100 a month, they're not saying $2,100 plus taxes and insurance. They're meaning including taxes and insurance. All inclusively, I want to spend $2,100 a month. So I plug in $2,100, hit compute, and just like that, we're able to tell that buyer, hey, you know, with 10% down, and $2,100 a month, you're looking at a $291,000 house. However, let me slide this over to 20%. If you could manage to rustle up 20% with 20% down and $2,100 a month, you're actually looking for a house in that $328 price range. So a great way to work with that buyer, and again, really look like an expert. Start the conversation off with the buyer with how much are you trying to spend? And then, of course, using that on renters is a really powerful way to use that calculator. Being able to show a renter how much house they could get for that payment that they're spending. A great way to use that monthly affordability calculator as well. Now, another great calculator, I feel like it's one of our most underrated calculators, is the rent versus buy calculator. As I mentioned before, using that monthly affordability calculator on renters is a powerful way to use that. But this rent versus buy calculator, it's going to show them the cost comparison over time. How long is it going to take for you to have spent more money renting than just buying this $325,000 house that you're looking at? Being able to show them over time where it becomes more cost effective to be buying rather than renting is just such a powerful tool. And if we click on that rent versus buy calculator, all that's really required is a a current rent, and a home price. We've of course got some assumptions that we've loaded in here. You can go in there and address those assumptions. However, I'm going to keep those the same. I'm just going to say, hey, my buyer's looking to spend $2,200, or my buyer, they're renting right now, or my renter is renting for $2,100 a month, and they're looking for houses in that $350 price range. That's what price they look at when they're searching on Zillow, $350, and they're spending about $2,100 a month in rent. So that's all we plug in. We hit compute, and we're able to show that renter, hey, it's 3 years. In fact, it's 3 years and 4 months exactly. That's how long it's going to take for you to have spent more money renting than what you would spend just buying this house. And of course, we've included with those assumptions rent rising, homes appreciating, annual tax savings that you get for being a homeowner, maintenance costs involved in being a homeowner. All of these different things we've loaded in here so that when you're giving them this comparison, you're actually giving them a really accurate comparison. In fact, if you want to break down how you're calculating that buy cost, you could press this Learn More button and walk them through it. You could say, hey, of course there's out-of-pocket expenses. You brought about $50K to close. You've made mortgage payments over those 3 years and 4 months, totaling at about $100,000. And there's maintenance costs involved. So we're really sitting at about $157,000 out of pocket. However, there's savings we need to think about. You know, you've paid towards principal over that time. The house is appreciated. You're getting annual tax savings for being a homeowner. So we're going to have to subtract these savings from those out-of-pocket expenses, totaling out your buy cost here at $85,000. So you can actually walk them through how you're calculating those buy costs. And of course, in regards to the blue bar at the top of the screen on the left side, there is a payment calculator. This is going to show their tax-adjusted payment, especially in the scenarios that this is lower than what their actual rent is. This is a great result screen to show them. Essentially, it's going to take the annual tax savings that they're getting for being a homeowner. We're going to divide that by 12 and subtract that from their actual payment. So yeah, their payment is $2,522. However, we're going to subtract the tax savings. So after that annual impact, it's going to feel more like $2,354. So we're going to show them that tax adjusted payment. And again, in the situations where that's lower than their current rent, this is a ridiculous screen to show them. You can say, hey, you're spending $2,100 a month for buying this home. It's going to be more like $1,900 a month that you would be spending, and you're going to own that home. So that's on the left side with that payment result screen. But typically, this is how you'll use this rent versus buy calculator. You'll start on the cost screen, the one that we're on right now, and you'll say, hey, so Mr. Renter, how much longer are you planning on renting? You're going to rent for the next 5 years? Well, if I slide this over to 5 years, over those 5 years, you would have spent $132,000 renting, whereas over those same 5 years, buying this $350,000 house that you're in love with, you would have only spent about $100,000. Let me take it a step further, though. We've got an equity graph for them. Over those 5 years, they would have built $135,000 in equity. And you know what, Mr. Renter, this would be your first time buying a home. You could live in it longer than that. Let's say you live in it for 7, or you know what, maybe even 8 years. You'd have $204,000 in equity in that home. That's something you definitely wouldn't have had renting over that same time. And you know what that equity means, right, Mr. Renter? Swipe over one more time. It means you could sell that house and walk with some cash. If you were to sell that house in 8 years, you'd be walking with $162,000 in your pocket, again, as opposed to renting over those same 8 years and walking away with nothing. So with this rent versus buy calculator, we're able to take that renter from point A you're renting, show them the break-even point of when it's more cost-effective to be buying rather than renting, and then we can take it a step further and show them if they sold the house in X amount of years, what they would end up walking with. It's just a really robust, comprehensive rent versus buy calculator that makes it easy for you guys to convert these renters over. Just some tremendous information in here that really helps you show those renters all the benefits of buying. So really powerful stuff there. All right, we don't have time to go over all of these calculators, but like I said, there's just some amazing stuff in here. In regards to following up with past clients, you know, showing them, especially with these rates, how they've hit historical lows, how refinancing could save them thousands. There's a refinance calculator here. Or if you're trying to follow up with a previous buyer, or maybe right after closing and you want to add some value to that experience that that buyer had with you, that extra payment calculator. Being able to show them, hey, if you just put $100 more towards principal each month, you're going to cut 6 years off of your payoff and you're going to save 30 grand. Being able to show them that is a great way for you guys to add value in these meetings with your buyers and sellers. There's just so many different calculators here that make it so easy for you guys to really brand yourself as the expert when you're working with these buyers and sellers. And before we jump into the premium, which is what I'm about to do, before I jump into premium, I do want to mention something really quickly. Aside from adding your photo and logo to your account and those geo reports that I showed you, everything else in the buyer, seller, and calculators tab is being provided to you guys by the lovely folks there at Supreme Title for free. Again, like I said before, they see a ton of value in all of these tools, and they want to be the ones providing this to you. And so they're the ones that are making those 3 tabs of the app free. They're giving you over 15 different calculators to really make your job easier. And so show them some appreciation when you get the chance. They really care about you, and they're trying to give you something that's going to make your job a lot easier. They see a million different ways for this to accomplish that. And so definitely show them some appreciation when you get the chance. Again, those 3 tabs are free, but the premium subscription is what you'll need to pay to get access to that premium tab. Again, for that premium subscription, it's 99 cents a month, or if you want to pay for the full year, it's $9.99. And for that subscription, you'll be able to add your photo and logo to your account. You'll get access to those geo reports that I showed you before, and then you get access to this premium section of the app that has these 3 categories of content. We've got infographics, lenses, and lead gen calculators. So scrolling down to the bottom, I want to start with the lead gen calculators. These are really underrated premium content that I think you guys are really going to love. It's a way for you guys to generate leads on social media by posting these value-added tools out there and letting the consumers run the numbers themselves. Let the buyers, the sellers, the renters, the homeowners run those calculations themselves. However, when they run those calculations and they interact with your calculator, we're going to send you their contact information. So as part of your 99-cent subscription, you're able to access all of these lead gen calculators that you can post wherever you want. Let's say you want to attract more buyers. I want to give you an example of how these work so that you can go out there and use it today. Let's say you're trying to attract more buyers. I could choose this monthly payment calculator and I could share it. There's a share icon in the top right corner. It's going to give you a preview of what it'll look like on social media, on Facebook specifically. But if I press that share icon, it's going to give me my share options here. We've actually optimized all those lead gen calculator graphics to be used as ads on Facebook. And so I would recommend Facebook, but we've got a variety of other ways of sharing. In fact, if you just press copy, it's going to copy the URL. It's going to make a specific URL, and you can put that in your signature line or put it on your website. In fact, in regards to putting it on your website, if you go to the web version of the app, we're going to give you the code to embed this on your website if you want. So really powerful stuff there. But like I said, we've optimized those graphics to be used as ads on Facebook. So let's say I chose Facebook. I choose Facebook, I type up a post that says, hey, thinking about buying, try out my monthly affordability calculator below and see how much home you could afford with the monthly payment that works with your budget. And I can post that to Facebook and ask my friends to share it with people who are thinking about buying. I could also run it as an ad and boost it and run it as an ad in my area. Now, any of these potential buyers out there that come across my calculator and interact with it, those curious buyers that are curious how much they could buy with the monthly payment that they've been thinking about, any of those people that interact with those calculators, I'm going to be emailed their contact information. So again, we all know how much some of these companies are charging you guys for leads. Being able to have access to all these different lead gen calculators and just place them out there online in the various social media platforms and collect leads off of those consumers who interact with your calculators, it's just so much value for you guys available with those lead gen calculators. So I definitely wanted to kind of explain those and give you the gist of what those are. That's that bottom category, lead gen calculators. Again, you can swipe through and see all the ones that are available to you. And especially when something major happens in the industry, we're going to create new graphics for those lead gen calculators for you. So that's the bottom category. Scrolling up to the top, I want to talk about infographics now. Infographics are flyers that make the conversations about the numbers more understandable to the everyday consumer. So it's ways for you to better illustrate real estate concepts to those consumers. There's a ton of content in here. I'll click on the buyer's side and show you. There's just a steady stream. I like to consider this a steady stream of content. You can scroll through and see all of that available content in there. We're constantly loading new stuff in here. With the upcoming update, there's about 24, I believe is the number of different infographics that are being loaded in here for you guys. We're actually, with the update, also creating content that's great for stories. So we know that a lot of social media interaction is happening on Instagram and Facebook stories, on Snapchat, on TikTok. And so we're actually creating these infographics in story style so that you can post this content on those various platforms as well. I mean, if you look at these flyers, they're just really powerful for helping you convey these concepts to the consumers. And whenever something major happens in the industry, we create content to help you have that conversation. For example, rates started hitting historical lows, and that means a lot. For buyers, that means that they can lock in a low payment and save thousands on interest. So we've got a flyer here that talks about don't miss the chance to lock in a historically low rate. And it shows them comparatively what locking in this rate now looks like compared to what the rate was last year and what the rate average has been since we've been recording rates, 30 years or 50 years, I believe. So it's just some powerful stuff there. But we also could talk about what these rates mean for current homeowners. So if I want to follow up with buyers that I've worked with in the past and earn some referrals, I could send them a flyer that talks about, hey, it's a great time to refi. These historical rates could save you thousands by refining. I just wanted to send this flyer over to you and show you just how much you could save on that house I helped you purchase 2 years ago. So a great way to add some value to those past clients and earn some extra referrals. And of course, we've got mortgage payment relief tips, which is big right now. We pushed out a campaign about summer being the new spring market in real estate because a lot of the business that was held off in the spring started happening in the summer and started helping hit historical numbers and such. And so there was a whole campaign about, hey, in real estate, this year, at least for 2020, summer is the new spring for real estate. And then, of course, less inventory, higher prices. We've got a new infographic for that. And I believe last week we came out with this one about great news for the real estate and addresses some of the statistics that have been pushed out by home builders that talk about how they're starting to hit pre-COVID numbers. So a lot of these stats, like how much they're building and how much people are buying new builds, what this really means for real estate. It's good signs for us. So it's a way to quell some of that anxiety that a lot of these buyers and sellers have. So really powerful stuff there. All of these infographics are dynamic, and so whenever you choose one of them, it'll take you into the corresponding calculator where then you can tailor the numbers to a specific client or to your market. So when you click on one, there will be a continue button down at the bottom, and when you press continue, you'll jump into the calculator that corresponds with that, and you can type in numbers that'll make it work for your scenario specifically. So that's how those infographics work. You get to browse those available pieces of content and then go in there and tweak the numbers so that they make sense to your client that you're working with. So that's the top category, infographics. The third category of content that you're getting for that 99-cent subscription. I know it's unbelievable how much value you're getting for that 99-cent subscription, but you get one additional category of content, and it's a way to spice up those photos that you're taking and posting to social media. It's the lenses category. This is similar to those filters and frames that a lot of the social media platforms are doing, but these are specific to real estate. So you can scroll through and see the different categories available. All the way to the right, we do have the open house category. We've got a virtual house tour. That's a campaign that we're doing a lot of with everybody doing a lot of these 3D tours and online tours. We've got a lot of content there for those. but there's also normal open houses for those of you who are still holding normal open houses. The just listed, the listing category is going to, of course, have great lenses for us to take pictures of those listings and market our listing with a little bit of personality. Just listed, hot market, different things like that will be available there. The hashtag Realtor Life is funny catchphrases that you agents love to say. You can take selfies, take pictures of your clients with those lenses, great lenses that really add some personality to your marketing. You know, I'm never too busy for your referrals. Saturdays are my Mondays, different things like that. The closing category is great for taking pictures of those buyers after closing, whether they're sitting at that Supreme Title closing table, signing their paperwork, or they're standing in front of their new house holding their keys up and you just want to take a congratulations photo of them. There's some really cool lenses in there that help you connect with your buyers after closing. And then there's the seasonal category. The seasonal category has all those social media and national holidays. We do have the fall lenses being loaded in soon, along with Labor Day lenses. Those will be available as well in the coming days so that you can use those over the weekend. But really fun stuff there in the seasonal. Keep your eye on that section. We always do some fun stuff there. Some stuff like Hot Dog Day or you know, of course, all the big holidays get lenses as well. And then whenever there's major stuff that happens in the industry, for example, rates started hitting historical lows. Well, we wanted to create some lenses that address that. So there are some lenses that actually have the rates on there that are pulled from different reports. So really powerful stuff here. Of course, there's the summer lenses. This listing is hot. Hashtag summer lens or summer listing. Summer is a sweet time to be your realtor. Just imagine taking a photo with one of these fun lenses and posting it to social media. You're going to give your clients and prospects a laugh. A great way to market your business. So all three of those categories, again, are meant to boost engagement on social media for you and help you get a little bit of traction by educating your consumers or entertaining them. So really fun stuff there. Last few things to know about your app. Bottom right corner where that Supreme Title logo is, that's going to be your rep tab. So whatever rep you've selected, it'll show their lovely photo down there, and that's where you can get their contact information if you ever need to reach out. Going back to the buyer or seller tab, you'll see that we will hold your results on the screen. Well, if you want to reset and get back to the input screen, you can press that refresh icon in the top left corner. It'll ask if you want to clear all fields and start over fresh. Yes, that's what I'd like to do. And that's where it'll give you a brand new input screen. Any estimates that you've previously saved can be pulled up with this folder icon in the top right corner. And then the menu in the top left corner, that's where you can go to, we could toggle over to landscape mode if we were using an iPad with a keyboard case. We can contact our support staff, available from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. Central Standard Time, Monday through Friday. You can email them, text them, or call them directly from your app if you're ever having any issues or questions. They're really friendly and extremely helpful. You can watch tutorial videos and learn how to better use the app, but you guys are lucky enough to be working with the Supreme Title, where they wrangled up the opportunity for you guys to learn from the Grand Master. So I hope you've learned a lot today. They'll have this recording posted on their YouTube page. And then, of course, account settings and profile settings. That's where you'll be able to go in and edit your profile. So that is the app. Any questions?
Now is the time, ladies and gents.
It's not only the time. I know it's a lot, and we're well aware of it, but I highly suggest. I did an app the other night. A client called me. I had very little knowledge of using it, and I jumped right on. It is probably the most user-friendly app that I've ever worked with, and anybody on here that's worked with our previous Title app will know that this app is going to blow it. This app is going to blow it out of the water. I mean, it is super user-friendly. It's really, really easy to use. I promise you, just play with it a little bit and you're going to find a bunch of bells and whistles that you might have not been familiar with.
And I know that it was a lot to learn in one class. It was a lot of different jumping around on the app, but thankfully the recording will be available, like Mike and I have mentioned, and you can refer back to it whenever you'd like.
And
for a little refresher.
Rose and I are here for questions. We're going to be doing another training coming up. Michael has been so gracious with his valuable time and coming on and teaching us. We've even talked about specific areas like that we might want to highlight that he can go over. He's been absolutely fantastic with it. So let us know, give us some feedback. Let us know what you think. Cause I think this app is right now of the times. They change it. They're very thoughtful on the lenses they put in and how they're, I guess,
Just how it functions, yeah.
So let us know what you think after the next couple of days. It would be wonderful to hear from you guys and find out if you're enjoying it. Any questions for our friend Michael before we let him go? Anybody?
It looks like Cherry has a question about sending over the rent versus buy scenario. So I'm going to go ahead and do that real quick. So I'm just going to run one real quick for us. Whenever you want to send something off, just always look for that share icon, the box with the arrow coming out of it. And so that is how you could send that scenario to your client. Also, we do have that rent versus buy lead gen calculator. So you could also send that to them and they could actually run the scenario for themselves. So that's another option in regards to sending that over to a prospect. Again, the share option is where you'll get those options. So when you go to send for report, just look for that box with the arrow coming out of it again. And that is where you'll see the different share options, which email will be one of them, and it'll use your email on your device to accomplish that. So there you go for that question.
And this is also the same share icon that they have on their app is what you would use on any app or your photos or anything that you're really doing on your phone. It's going to be that same kind of share icon. It's very across the board. All right, so we had a question from Rhonda about signing into the app a certain way to know that it's Supreme's app. That's what's so wonderful about the app. They literally developed this app for us. So this is our personalized app. That's why when you go to the App Store, you search Supreme Agent One. If you go to a different title company or in a different state or something like that, it would be a different name. So it wouldn't say Supreme Agent One, it would say whatever that title company's name is. The point is, this is our personalized app. So if you're using Supreme Agent One, you have our fees in there and it's connected to our company automatically.
Yeah. And we're branded on it. So
yes, we're branded and you get to be branded. And then like Mike said, that extra step further in the branding if you get the premium account.
The cool thing about this app is also for a person who doesn't have an extensive transaction coordinator assistance, this really will help
streamline.
Yeah, streamline a lot for you, making things hopefully a lot easier. So great question, Rhonda. Thanks, Mike. Mark, sorry.
Mark, yes. Mark asked me if we're going to send the link once we posted the class. Yes, I will send the link to everybody.
And it will also be on our YouTube channel.
That's the link.
Okay, yeah, it's going to be on our YouTube channel. So,
is that it, everyone?
I know it looks like Cherry has a question that came to me about adding her photo and logo. So that'll be in that menu icon in the top left corner that I was showing you, and you could go into that profile. So the menu icon up here in the top left corner, and then go to profile. I think you can actually also click on your photo and logo up there at the top, and that'll take you to the edit profile as well. But then you can add your photo, logo, personal information, company information, license numbers as well.
Mike, I'm not sure. I may have missed it. If you showed them that when you're putting your company logo in there, you don't have to have a file of it. They have a search that you can basically search.
Oh, I don't think I've ever talked about that with you guys. And so I think you specifically have found that, and I'm so proud of you. Yes, we actually have all the logos that have ever been loaded into our app in the 20 years. It'll be in the all logos section. So chances are we already have your logo in there. There's
some of the smaller brokerages might be missing, but the big ones, KW, Remax, Coldwell Banker, all you guys are there. Even some of the smaller ones in the area, if they've used a different Palm Agent app, that's what their company's called.
I mean, how cool is that?
It's pretty cool.
It's so thoughtful. That kind of ease, that kind of user-friendly way to approaching it. It's just incredible. I just am blown away by this app. Tell your other realtor friends about it. We'll get them.
Tell people in your office. If you feel like your office would like a private training session, let us know. We will absolutely try to get that scheduled with Mike.
Yep. Absolutely. All right, guys, have a wonderful Wednesday. Mike,
Thank you so
have
much.
been amazing. Bye, everyone who's still on. We'll talk to you all soon. Take care.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you guys. Y'all take care.
Bye.
Bye.